77 WABC invites you to a family fun day and softball showdown on July 20th with net proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's. John Sterling will call the game as the FDNY takes on the NYPD with special guests Dwight Gooden, Art Shamsky, 77 WABC hosts, including Sid Rosenberg, Anthony Cumia, Lionel, Dominic Carter, and many more. For more info and to buy tickets, go to ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.
Let the Record Show with Judge Richard Weinberg and Chairman Jesse Garcia.
Entertaining and informative
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back to Let the Record Show with Chairman Jesse Garcia of the Republican Party. Jesse is the Vice Chair of the New York State Party and the County Chair of the Suffolk County Party. Noted attorney, commentator, and essayist, and our co-host, Eric Levine. I'm Judge Richard Weinberg, and we are indeed honored and privileged today to have our very good friend, the very esteemed, well-respected, and great leader of the United States House of Representatives, Speaker Mike Johnson, a great constitutional lawyer, a great public servant, and a great Speaker of the House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, it is an honor and privilege to have you aboard on Let the Record Show today. Thank you for being on.
Well, thank you, Judge and gentlemen. Some of my favorite people, hosts of this show, so it's a great honor to be with you.
Well, I'm going to turn you over to the searing cross-examination of our good friend, Eric Levine. When Eric is finished with you, Mr. Speaker, Jesse will have some questions for you as well. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, I generally measure the success of my cross-examinations by leaving my witnesses sobbing uncontrollably, but we'll try not to do that here. But it's a real pleasure and an honor to have you here, and it's a real honor to be able to call you a friend, and I'm delighted that you could join us. Thank you for coming.
Yes, indeed.
So I want to talk to you about that big, beautiful bill. Tell us about some of the stuff we don't know. I guess the things that really leap to mind is there have to have been some things going on behind the scenes that the public just doesn't know. I mean, I think people have visions of Chip Roy arm wrestling and body slamming Mike Lawler. There had to be some stuff going on there that we just don't know about. Are there any nice anecdotes or great anecdotes you could tell us about how this sausage was made?
Thanks, Eric. One day I'll write a 3-volume set about the passage of this bill because there is so much that went on behind the scenes and lots of personal stories, lots of heroic efforts by a lot of people. You named one of them, Mike Lawler, was essential to getting this thing done, and so many others. Our New York delegation, I tip my hat to these guys. We call them our majority makers because they're so critical for us maintaining the Republican majority. But guys like Andrew Garbarino and Nicola Loda and Elise Stefanik, I mean, they were Claudia Tenney, all of them, just intimately involved in every step and every detail of getting this bill over the line and helping us build consensus. And, we have one of the smallest margins in the history of the United States Congress. We can only spare 3 votes at present. But for about 90 of the first 100 days of the Congress, we had a literal 1-vote margin. So there's no room for error at all. And I count on these guys to help us, and they did in a crunch. And it's a hugely important thing for the country.
So a couple things about the bill. So there's information coming out about the bill. What is it that you don't think people are hearing enough about that deserves more attention? And what is it that's being discussed that you think is just flat out wrong and is disinformation?
Well, we could spend a couple hours on both those categories because really we call it the one big beautiful bill for a reason. There's so much here. What's important to point out is that America First is no longer just an agenda. It's now the law of the land. I mean, we got the lion's share of all of our campaign promises over that line. We delivered in this bill, and the American people gave us a clear mandate. And after 4 years of Democrats' abject failure, we delivered all they asked for, and we did it on America's 249th birthday. So it's just pure poetry. But I tell you what, the big beautiful bill. One thing that no one's talking about is that in the bill, among so many other things, we codified 28 of the president's most important executive actions. His executive orders are now solidified in the law, the written law, so they can't be undone by the next president. But at the same time, we had the biggest investment in border security in generations. We've made historic tax cuts, and we made them permanent. We also cut wasteful spending at the same time. The largest savings for taxpayers in the history of the Congress. All this in one bill. We unleashed American energy dominance. We restored peace through strength by historic investments in our military-industrial base. And we returning to a government that puts Americans first, strengthening the safety net programs, just so much in here. And we'll be unpacking this for quite some time.
So one of the mantras that the Democrats like to fall back on is that people will die. I mean, I think if Republicans found the cure for cancer, the Democratic rejoinder would be people will die. So
100%.
But I think the focus is being directed at Medicaid, these alleged cuts.
Yeah.
Can you cut through that nonsense? Can you explain to the American people precisely what this bill does vis-a-vis Medicaid?
Yes, absolutely, and you're right. They are engaging in a massive misinformation campaign. Put it bluntly, as New Yorkers do. They're lying, okay, and they know it. They're claiming that people are going to lose their health care and people are going to die. It's just absurd. There are no cuts to Medicaid in this bill. In fact, Medicaid will continue to grow a couple $100 billion over the course of the time period that this bill covers. And so the left is just lying about it. What we did here is not harm Medicaid. We strengthened the program. It's an essential safety net, and a lot of American citizens need and deserve it. But it's intended for vulnerable populations, for example, the elderly and disabled and young women, young pregnant women, for example, who just need a boost. Well, we're preserving it for them by stopping the fraud and abuse in the program. So we're going to kick off the 1.4 million illegal aliens that are getting coverage right now, stealing it from American citizens. That's not right, and we're getting them off of it. We're also reintroducing work requirements, Eric, because that's a common sense measure. We have young, able-bodied men with no dependents who are riding the wagon, and they need to help pull it. And so when we did the Obamacare expansions and all the states did that, you got a bunch of people on this program that were never intended to be there, and they're draining resources from those who really need it. So we've imposed a 20-hour-a-week requirement. I mean, it's nothing. They act like it's some sort of draconian requirement. All it says is you either have to have a job, be looking for a job, or volunteering in your community. And you and I both know, all of us know, that work is good for human dignity, for self-worth, and it allows somebody to contribute to their surroundings. And so by requiring that, we are proud to go in any town hall in any place in America and explain what we've done. And everybody, once they understand it, they nod their heads in agreement and say, of course we should do that. That's going to help strengthen the program, and we're going to cut out the fraud, waste, and abuse. You got about 4.7 million young, able-bodied people with no dependents who are riding the wagon. They're not going to be able to do that anymore. So we're proud of these reforms.
You know, one of the things that's interesting, if you look at polling, when you just talk about the big, beautiful bill, it doesn't poll well. But when you point to the specific items in the bill, those specific items individually poll exceedingly well. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, they do. And that's the thing, is that we're going to have a chance now to go out and educate everybody on what's really in the bill, to put down the lies that have been spread. And talk about all the great benefits. I mean, think of this. 40 million families are going to benefit from the increased child tax credit in the bill. 91% of Americans will benefit from an increased standard deduction. The bill puts about $1,300 back in the average family's pocket and slashes $1.6 trillion in government debt at the same time. I mean, this is good for everybody. All boats are going to rise. It'll be jet fuel to the economy. You're not have no tax on tips, on overtime. We gave great help to seniors, more tax benefits there. Everybody's going to be feeling better, and they're going to feel it before that midterm election, which is so critically important. And so the Democrats' lies are not going to hold weight, because we're going to have the obvious evidence to point to, and everybody will see that.
So I just want to shift gears for a second. As you are well aware, there's a mayoral race going on in New York City. The Democrats have selected Zohran Mamdani to be their stand-in bearer, and there are 3 or 4 people, independents, a Republican candidate, who are running against him. We all have our views here as to how this is all playing out, but I'm just curious, what are you hearing down in D.C., or what's your perception down in D.C. of the mayoral race up here?
Well, I tell you what, we're all watching it with stunning fascination. I mean, the Democrats seem to have learned nothing from their historic defeat in 2024, and they're going exactly in the opposite direction. I mean, the idea that they would rally around a radical, anti-Semitic, big government Marxist is just incredible to us. I mean, it's terrible news for New York City and all my friends there, but it's great news for House Republicans because we will point to this guy as really a symbol of the current Democrat Party. This is not your father's Democratic Party. They have gone far over the edge. And now the developments of the day this past week, the Democratic Socialists in New York City are emboldened by that primary win, and now they're saying they're going to go after 5 House incumbents next, including Hakeem Jeffries, who's the Democrat leader. So it's not time to be a Democrat, and we're going to use that to show the sharp contrast between them and their vision and ours.
Yeah, I will say that there always seems to be room for anti-Semitism in this Democratic Party. They talk about this big tent. I just kind of wonder if instead of saying globalize the Intifada, kill Jews wherever they are, he had said something like hang blacks. I wonder if they would still find that to be want to include him in the big tent. I mean, that's something I just find somewhat anathema.
It really is crazy, and it is as though they give cover to anti-Semites and people who truly advocate for violence against our Jewish brothers and sisters and fellow citizens. It's unconscionable. But this is one of the reasons, Eric, that the House Republicans are enjoying our highest approval ratings since 2011, while House Democrats have their lowest approval ratings in the history of polls. I mean, we're going in opposite directions because they keep doubling down on this madness, and people see through it. Man, we can trust the American people. They have a good barometer on what's right and what's wrong, and we're standing for the good and the right, and they're on the wrong side. And I think they're going to pay a penalty for that in the election cycle.
So just before I turn this over to my good buddy Jesse Garcia, I just want to make this final point. And every listener, I want you to. This is really important. When there were the explosions of anti-Semitism on college campuses across New York State, Columbia University being prime among them, Chuck Schumer was nowhere to be found. In fact, he was sending emails to Columbia University leadership to say, keep your heads down, it's just a Republican issue. Mike Johnson, Speaker Johnson, went to Columbia with Mike Lawler and Virginia Fox, and he went there and said this nonsense has to stop. That is a profile in courage. And Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you personally for that. And so with that, I'm going to turn you over to my good buddy, Jesse Garcia.
Mr. Speaker, it's a pleasure to be with you today. And it's also been a pleasure to host you and your wonderful wife, Kelly, in Suffolk County several times in 2024. And thank you for your support of our candidates here, our members of Congress, Andrew Garbarino and Nick LaLota. And, you know, we've said this, I don't know if your staff has told you, but on this show on several occasions, and you being a man of faith as we are, we all believe that you are the speaker that this Congress needed and through its God-given faith has placed in there, because only someone like yourself could have put this in a small majority, get this bill and all the tough legislation approved with the small minorities. A small majority you have. So thank you so much for that, and thank you for your support of our Congress here, especially when it comes to something that needed to be corrected in New York for Garbarino, LaLota, and others, which was the SALT deduction. So I truly appreciate that.
Sure. Well, thanks for saying that, Jesse. And that was a really critically important issue for New Yorkers. And I understood that, and I helped them guide that through. And they did so well for their constituents. They fought the fight. I mean, and you got to understand that, you know, I'm from a red state in Louisiana, and other red states around the country. They're no fans of the SALT deduction, right? But the New Yorkers, the New Yorkers stood so strong, and a handful of Californians. They really won the day, and it's a big thing to deliver for New York. I mean, I want to get some sort of small award to be an honorary New Yorker. Okay, I spent so much time up there, to your point, you know, during the election cycle, because as we say, it's true in the House Republican Conference, our majority runs through New York and California, and electing those guys like you named, they're critical. They're critical for us to be able to keep governing as we are and delivering to the American people, because if we don't have those seats in the blue states like we have, we don't have a majority, and the Democrats would turn this thing into total chaos. So I'm a big fan of those guys. I'm going to keep helping them. I'll be up there a whole lot during this election cycle as well, and you guys are going to get tired of seeing me.
We won't get tired. But just to follow up, as you said, the America First is no longer an agenda. It's a law with 28 executive orders now included in the big, beautiful bill, which is law. Now, there's the opportunity for Congress with 2 more reconciliation opportunities. Will Congress take advantage of those two reconciliation efforts? And if they do, what do you foresee them being? What would be included in that? That maybe that needed to be that could not make the grade in the first big beautiful bill.
Yes, we have a lot of additional very important work to do. Okay, we're running a playbook that we designed we began this a year and a half ago. And Vince Lombardi said one time, victory loves preparation. And so we prepared all that. Well, next in the playbook is not only our appropriations bills, which we're going to work on at lower levels, rescissions bills that the White House is sending over for us to claw back spending that Congress previously appropriated but was being abused, waste, fraud, and abuse. But then also additional reconciliation bills, to your point. So we're planning one for the fall and one for next spring. The fall reconciliation bill would be attached to the FY26, fiscal year 26 measures, and the next one would be for FY27. We can do all that in this 2-year cycle, this 2-year Congress. But to do it, we got to keep moving steadily ahead, and we will. And meanwhile, at the same time, we're going to codify even more of those Trump executive orders and continue to roll back Biden regulations. So all of this is going to help the economy. All boats are going to rise. Job participation levels will go up, wages, more opportunity for more people. And we're going to demonstrate for them they made the right choice when they put Republicans in charge in 2024.
Mr. Speaker, it's Judge Weinberg again. I want to commend you, by the way, and I know this because Congressman Peter King, who's in the studio with us on Monday nights when we do the Katz and Cosby show together, has pointed out your great support to taking care of and protecting the victims of the 9/11 terrorist attack against New York. And he thinks that you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I just want you to know, you don't have to be Jewish to love Levy's sliced rye bread.
That's right. Well, I do, and I tell you, Peter King is a hero of mine and a great man, and for him to say that is high praise. So I'm big fans of our New Yorkers, and to be a Republican and to stand for principle, sometimes against the odds in some of these districts is a big thing for the country, and we don't take it for granted.
So, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you so much for being with us. Mike, on a personal level, again, this means a great deal to me and to all of us here. Keep doing what you're doing. You're a great patriot. You're doing great things for our country, and we look forward to you doing some more.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, gentlemen, and you got it. I look forward to seeing you all in person again as soon as I'm back up there.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, we just had this wonderful interview with Speaker Mike Johnson, a great patriot, a great American, a great constitutional lawyer, one of the great speakers in the history of our constitutional republic. A man who's fought very, very hard with a very slim majority to protect and defend America and the American people, and we're very fortunate to have him as our guest. Please stay tuned. We'll be back in about a few moments with more interesting and important conversation on this week's Let the Record Show.
Let the Record Show with Judge Richard Weinberg and Chairman Jesse Garcia on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
77 WABC invites you to a family fun day and softball showdown on July 20th with net proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's. John Sterling will call the game as the FDNY takes on the NYPD with special guests Dwight Gooden, Art Shamsky, 77 WABC hosts including Sid Rosenberg, Anthony Cumia, Lionel, Dominic Carter, and many more. For more info and to buy tickets, go to ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.